Yo, what's good, YouTube? Zamcrow here, aka Scoop, back with the World Showdown series. We've got Season 6 and our Week 6 battle here, and we're taking on Tony, our buddy, coach of the Canterberry Conkeldurrs. So, yeah, very scary squad, as you can see down below, and he's a very solid battler, as you can tell from our battles we've had in the past few seasons. So, always looking forward to playing Tony. It's always a blast. We have so much fun playing each other. All we hope for is a clean game. We don't really give a fuck who wins or who loses. As long as we have a clean game, we know it's going to be phenomenal. So, to have a look at a squad, he's got the Mega Gallade, Clefable, Zapdos, Arcanine, Scizor, Slowking, Tangrowth, Miltank, Noivern, Garbodor, and the Mudsdale. And his Z options are offensive Z option for Arcanine and Noivern, and then he's got offensive and status Z options for Slowking and Garbodor. So he's got 4 potential Z move users, and it's a pretty scary squad. Our squad is, as always, Aegislash, Hydreigon, Mega Gardevoir, Terrakion, Licky, Crocodile, Rotom Heat, Dugtrio, Acelgor, and the Go-Goat. Oh, and Lapras, can't forget that bad boy. I know a couple people that would be upset with me for getting Lapras. Our Z move users are offensive only, and it's Hydreigon and Acelgor. So yeah, that's going to be our squad. And for this particular matchup, we've decided that we were going to bring pretty much a kind of a balanced squad like we normally do. We have a mixed defense leftovers Aegislash with Toxic, which is nice for things like Miltank, Unaware Clef, Zapdos, and Arcanine, which could potentially switch in. And then his Regenerator Core of Slowking and Tangrowth. They really don't appreciate Toxic, and that's really what it's there for. We also have King Shield on Aegislash, as well as Shadow Ball and Flash Cannon. We had to run Flash Cannon because of the Miltank, otherwise we couldn't hit it effectively at all. And since we were a special attacking set this time, Secret Sword wasn't really an option. So yeah, I think it's a really good versus Mega Gallade. King Shield could potentially drop its attack. Obviously, it could set up a sub or bulk up or Swords Dance or something like that, but we can always take one hit and click Shadow Ball for a lot of damage and then Revenge Kill it with something else. We have Hydreigon, which is another Z move user. Just like last week, we brought out the Darkinium Z. This week, we're bringing the Dragonium Z with Draco Meteor, Dark Pulse, Flash Cannon, and Roost. We are rocking a Modest Nature with enough speed to outpace no speed Zapdos and lower. So basically, base 100s with minimal speed EVs. And then we've got able to maximize our bulk and damage output by doing that. Next up, we have a Canterberry Terrakion. The idea is that we can set up a Swords Dance versus Mudsdale and be able to break through that thing, or at least weaken it for something else to knock it out despite its defense boost. A +2 close combat should do enough to do that. We are also rocking Stone Edge and Rock Polish, so we are a double dance set. If we were to go for Swords Dance versus something like Zapdos and he hard switched into the Mudsdale and it was weakened enough to be one-shotted by close combat, then I could just click Rock Polish with my Canterberry still intact, survive the Earthquake, and then I would be at +2 attack, +2 speed, and as long as he doesn't have like Bullet Punch Scizor left, that should be game, to be honest. And we have Rotom Heat, which is going to be a Toxic variant just like last week with Overheat and Hidden Power Ice. And our last move being Pain Split, just so that we can get a little bit of longevity versus things like Mudsdale and potentially Zapdos. And Toxicking, his Mons is really nice, which is why we have Toxic on this thing and Aegislash. And next up we have another Choice Scarf Adamant Dugtrio, just like last week, except a little bit different moves. Actually, the only thing different is we don't have Stealth Rocks on this bad boy. We have Earthquake, Rock Slide, Toxic, and Memento. And I think that was a mistake. Should have definitely had Stealth Rock on this thing instead of Toxic. We do have Toxic on Rotom Heat and Aegislash like I previously mentioned. So Toxic on this thing was just overdoing it really and kind of put me in a position to where I don't have rocks on the squad, which could be the difference maker as he has things like Zapdos and Arcanine and then that Regen Core that just really don't appreciate coming in on hazards. Last but not least, we have a Licky, which is a mixed defense nature set with Wish, Protect, Flamethrower, and Ice Beam. Now, I don't have super effective ways to hit some of his squad, but like things like Zapdos and Tangrowth, they're not going to be able to set up a sub versus me. Scizor is going to drop to the flamethrower, so on and so forth. So that's generally the idea behind the squad. Nothing too special about it. I think it's pretty straightforward outside of my Double Dance Sugarberry Terrakion. But yeah, it's pretty much the squad, and there's not too much else to say about it. He's got some scary options in Mega Gallade, which could be like I said, it could be 4 attacks, it could be sub 3 attacks, it could be bulk up or Swords Dance 3 attacks, which is really scary. Like I mentioned though, Aegislash should be able to take 1 hit, even like a +2 knockoff, as long as I got in my shield form and able to knock him out, or at least do big damage with the Shadow Ball to where I can put him in range of Scarfduck Trio, and I am adamant, so I should be able to do it, or, around 40% to a Mega Gallade, as long as it's not set up or anything like that, or unless it's super bulky. And then Clefable is a huge threat too, whether it's unaware and it's going to wall my entire team, or it's going to be like Magic Guard with Calm Mind or something. It's a huge threat. Zapdos is really nice too. I think it's one of the better electric types in the format. I think Zapdos and Tapu Koko are the 2 best electric types in the format. And then comes Thundurus and the Mega Manetrix, the Jolteons, and all those weird things. But definitely I think Koko and Zapdos are the 2 best electric types. And then he's got Intimidate on Arcanine, and like I mentioned, the Regen Core. And he's got a really solid Fire, Water, Grass Core. And then his Fairy Dragon Steel Core isn't the best, Noivern being his dragon, but it's not like it's necessarily weak. Clefable and Scizor make it really strong in itself. He's got priority in like Shadow Sneak Mega Gallade, Vacuum Wave Mega Gallade. He's also got Extreme Speed and Bullet Punch in Arcanine and Scizor respectively. And then has, Stealth Rocks, Toxic Spikes. Definitely has ways to whittle my squad down and be very annoying. And he could have a really tough squad to break. It really depends on how he approaches the match. But yeah, that's going to be it for the Prep Talk segment. I guess we can hop into my Poke Paste will be in the description. Obviously, I didn't zoom in on my EVs or anything like that, so you guys can check that out if you want to. But yeah, it's going to be it for the Prep Talk, and we can go ahead and hop into the battle now and see what's going to happen here. Alright, so here we are with the replay. My opponent chooses to bring the Mega Gallade, Clefable, Miltank, Slowking, Scizor, and the Tangrowth. So no Zapdos, I noticed that immediately. No Arcanine, I also noticed that immediately, which is really nice for me. I don't, like, his squad was really scary. So, him not bringing some threats is kind of, it's annoying because you prep for him, but it's also a good thing because you don't have to face him. So, looking at his squad, his potential Stealth Rocker is Miltank and Clefable. Both of which could be his lead. I don't necessarily see why he wouldn't try to get his rocks up immediately. So I'm just going to lead off with my Aegislash. Like I mentioned, I didn't bring rocks in this matchup. It was a big boo-boo on my part. I thought Toxic Spam was more important for some reason. I guess I did build the squad and then have to speed build it right before we played. So because we were scheduled to play at like an hour or 2 after the time we actually played, but we were both joined a tournament, and we kind of put priority towards the tournament, and we played our match a little bit early, so I had to speed build real quick to get my squad back together, and I left off Stealth Rock. So that's a little bit unfortunate, but like I mentioned, I am going to lead off with my Aegislash and see what he's going to lead with. As he leads with his Miltank, so my play here is to just click Toxic and see what he wants to go for. As he sets up his Stealth Rock, a little bit unfortunate for me, I'm going to go for Flash Cannon here, as he reveals Heal Bell actually, which is a little bit unfortunate for me. But I got to go for the King Shield here so that I can be, not hit hard. As he goes into the Scizor on my next Toxic, and that's fine here. I'm just going to go for the King Shield on the following turn, as he goes for the knockoff, and he's actually not going to be able to, he's just going to get his attack dropped. As I go into my Hydreigon on the following knockoff, since I am Z-move, I don't necessarily worry about losing my item. And I'm going to make a prediction here and go for the Flash Cannon. And he goes into his Clefable, and I do over 80% with Flash Cannon. I did get a critical hit there, but this was a 2-hit KO regardless, so it didn't really matter, outside of the fact that he was going to switch out, which gives me a Dark Pulse. The special defense drop also allows me to go for Dark Pulse as well. I would have knocked out the Clefable, but he pivots into his Slowking here and takes a very powerful Dark Pulse. And I'm going to go for the Devastating Drake on the following turn. Had he pivoted into his Tangrowth, I could have potentially knocked it out depending on its set. And I didn't want you know, to go for Dark Pulse and it be a roll and not knock him out. And if he went into anything else there, I wanted to get the most out of the turn. So I went for the Devastating Drake. Obviously, it wouldn't hit the Clefable, and it would have been resisted by Scizor. But I think it was the best play to get rid of Slowking, which was going to be very, very annoying to the rest of my squad. So here he goes into his Mega Gallade and clicks Swords Dance immediately, which was a fine play there, expecting me to switch out. And I'm going to go out into Aegislash here, and I'm not going to click King Shield, because he's going to predict that and go for Sub or Swords Dance again, and I'm just going to go for the Shadow Ball, as he does go for the second Swords Dance, which allows me to get a huge chunk of damage off, allowing my Dugtrio to always Revenge Kill this bad boy. And I can't risk him setting up again versus my King Shield here, or Protect, or anything like that, because if he's got the Sneak, he could potentially knock out my entire squad. Actually, he probably knocks out Dugtrio with Sneak anyway, but I really don't expect him to have Sneak. He's revealed Swords Dance. He's going to have Close Combat and Zen Headbutt. Obviously, he just revealed it, and his fourth move has, you know, been unshown yet. So he knocks us out here with a critical hit on his Zen Headbutt, which didn't matter. I think it mattered. It may have not mattered because I was in Blade form, but I don't really remember. I would have to calculate again, and it's not too important anyway. I was sacking that thing off anyway, like I mentioned, to get the chip off on Gallade, so that I could always trap it and then Revenge Kill it with Dugtrio here and knock it out there with the Earthquake. So that's going to be nice. As he goes into the Scizor, I'm going to hard switch out into my Licky Licky, and he just U-turns out, which was a fine play, and it does 44%, so it leads me to believe he's like Choice Band or something. He brings in his Clefable, though. I'm going to go hard out into my Hydreigon, because if this thing's Calm Mind, I can't let it set up or anything like that. I need to start clicking Flash Cannon again. As you can see, it does 62%. Easily was going to be a 2-hit KO earlier in the match. And he clicks the Flash Cannon there, or excuse me, the Moonblast there, knocks us out after Flash Cannon, you know, did 62% or so. But he should be in range of Dugtrio here, and I'm going to go into it, trap it, and eliminate it here. That's what's so good about Dugtrio is Arena Trap. You know, you can weaken something and then just bring Dugtrio in. He can't switch, and you can always eliminate your threat. Anyways, I'm going to go into my Rotom Heat here, and this was a misplay. The reason being is because I could have just went into Licky Licky again and gotten rid of I don't necessarily need Licky Licky anymore, but I need Rotom Heat to be relatively healthy. As you can see here, I kind of got a little bit over, I don't know really what to call it. As you see, I went for Toxic there, which was another misplay, because if he weakens my Rotom, I auto lose to Scizor. And for some reason, I keep doing this. I click Toxic again, predicting his Miltank to come in. I know he's going to try to Heal Bell and save this thing, so I'm going to hard switch into my Terrakion here as he goes for the Heal Bell, which was expected here. And I can click Swords Dance, predicting him to switch out. And he does go into his Tangrowth here, and I'm at +2 here, which is pretty solid for me. I could go to +2 again, and I don't want to click Close Combat, because Close Combat would lower my defenses. And he actually reveals Sleep Powder. So yeah, Draco would have knocked this thing out earlier, so that wouldn't have been a pivot. So it made sense now. It makes a whole lot better sense now. And I'm able to go for Close Combat here. I don't know why he was pivoting around, trying to waste turns, I guess, really. I don't really know what was going on there. But it allows me to get a Close Combat off on Tangrowth, and allows me to 2-hit KO it, basically. Anyways, I need Terrakion around so that I can always beat the Miltank, because if I don't have the Close Combat to just drop it, then I'm in a pretty rough position here. So I'm going to go into my Rotom Heat on this turn, and what I should do here is just click Overheat and switch out. But I click Pain Split there, and I stay in and allow him to get big damage off on me. My play here is to go into Dugtrio. My play is to go into Dugtrio, but for some reason I stayed in and allowed my only Scizor check to be completely weakened. And as you can see there in the right hand side, I popped up in the chat and said a couple things, obviously admitting my choke and letting my opponent know that that was the game pretty much. Because this thing did reveal to be Choice Banded earlier, and Choice Banded Bullet Punch will be able to knock out my Terrakion and my Dugtrio despite being pretty much at full. And I couldn't have did much damage to the Scizor anyway. only having Close Combat and Stone Edge on Terrakion, and then Earthquake to hit it as hard as possible with my Doug Trio. So that was a little bit unfortunate. I kind of threw the game away. I definitely saw how I could win, but for some reason I just threw it away. I gave my man Tony here another win and put myself in a position where I now have 5 losses and 1 win in 6 weeks. So that means I would literally have to win my next 5 matches to go 6-5 and make playoffs, barely hitting over 500, which is pretty unfortunate. I went through this last season of the CPC and then turned my CPC season around. At this point, I could turn my season into nothing but memes, but then again, I could potentially win all 5 of my games and go 6-5, and like at least I tried my best and put myself in the best position to make playoffs. And if I still didn't make playoffs at 6-5, that would be fine. I still finished the season, undefeated from, week 7 and onward. But if I did finish with 5 wins from here on out, and some things fell into place, and I did get into playoffs, I could potentially, have that Cinderella story and, grab the title despite, the rough first 6 games of the season. But that's going to be it. So let me know what you thought about the prevalent plays on both sides of the field. Good game, Tony. Good luck the rest of the season, my dude. Let me know what you guys thought. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. All the good stuff, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.